I know everybody's like, we're full. I'm like, it brings a lot of interesting business. That's how that's one of the reasons we got Trader Joe's.
I know. And don't get me started on tap versus bottled.
Oh, God. It talks about the bacteriological. God bless, I can't talk today. Words are hard.
But
so
after
can I just take chlorine and some? No, I'm just kidding.
Probably not.
Miles driven, almost a million miles. That's a lot of driving.
Put that in perspective, that's a few trips to the moon and back. What in the world? That actually says telemarketer.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Welcome back to the show. And today we have Brett McArdle. McArdle. Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that gets me every time. Well, we'll get it one of these days. But you are from the Consolidated Utility District. Yes. Thank you for coming in. Yeah. And what's your official title over there? Do you have one?
I serve as communications manager.
Okay, gotcha. And you do the annual reports and all that fun stuff.
Yes, the annual report that just reached mailboxes within the past few weeks.
Yes. Very cool. Okay. And I love that you come on here. Mm-hmm. And this is what, your third time, fourth time, something like that?
Third, I think, yes.
Third, mm-hmm. And you always go over the report with us. I really appreciate that. So, and for those watching, if you have any questions for him since we're live, put them in the comments, and I will try and follow along with them as best I can over here, because sometimes they start coming in real fast, and then we can get to it. But yeah, so we were going to go over. Let me pull up your report here. Mm-hmm. And speaking of, behind us on the screen is the website. So if you need any information on the CUD, it was a CUDRC.com.
We call it CUD.
Mm-hmm. CUD? Okay, gotcha. RC, RutherfordCounty.com. All right, cool. All righty. So let me pull this up. Cool. Here we go. So the annual report. Wow, this is the fastest we've ever just jumped into it before.
Well, there's also a lot to go over, too.
Yeah, well, that's true. There's a lot here, a lot of info. So very cool. Well, where do you want to start?
Well, the annual report kind of harkens back to each year. In the first quarter, we do a customer service survey. Okay. And I think of it as a chain of data, because that customer service survey tells us how our customers feel about us, what they want to learn more about, how we can best make ourselves as accountable and transparent as possible, what subjects they care about in terms of how the water is protected, the water quality, stuff like that. Their answers directly impact everything we do in terms of communications, and a lot of what we do with our other departments as well. So everything you see, every metric in the annual report has its genesis back in the customer service survey. People telling us what they care about. Okay.
Gotcha. And one thing I do want to point out early, just in case anybody wants to contact you all, you're very active on social media. Like, you jump right on questions and people message you personally. That's you directly, correct?
Yes, we do an unusual thing. Most utilities don't operate a live chat. Okay. So we operate a live chat pretty much at all hours, and it's me. And so it's not a bot. You may get an automated response initially, only because that can help answer a few questions. But beyond that, if it's saying, "What can I do for you?" that's me at the keyboard.
Okay. So how do you keep up with all that?
It's just a day in, day out thing. And a lot of questions are fairly easy to answer. Some require assistance from other departments, so I reach out to those departments in real time, and we try to answer things within minutes. Okay. So we try to put a really high emphasis on accountability in the moment.
Okay. Well, what's like a average question you get? I'm just curious.
Let's see. Well,
probably a lot of bill questions.
There are bill questions about how do I access my bill online? What is the best way to pay for it? We have a web page always set up for that. Okay. It's just our payments page. You see the payments tab on the screen there. So, in fact, when we run Google Analytics, which I do about once a quarter, payment information is always in the top 3 usually. Okay. So.
Gotcha. There we go. Well, on the annual report here, I see a whole bunch of stats and numbers and everything.
Yes.
So where would you like? Well, the first one says water quality, and it talks about different taps. You want to talk about those?
Yeah. In fact, we're really fortunate in many ways because of the water quality. Our most recent report showed no violations whatsoever. One of the rotators here, it mentions our water treatment plant earned a major industry award. So this is a big deal for us in multiple ways.
Oh, I just saw it. Yeah, sorry. It was right
there. Okay. And so it's one thing to do our annual report, which is mandated by the state and the federal government in terms of producing the water quality report that we send out, whether it's printed or online to all of our customers, and they can see that we've had no violations. We've had many years now of no violations. Then we went and did a different thing, an additional thing. All right, so there's this thing called the Partnership for Safe Water, which is a partnership of about 6 different nationally recognized water quality organizations, and you can submit your report to them. You have to go through over 100 questions, everything from water disinfection to water quality to your source water to your administrative policies to training and so on. Only after you've satisfied all their requirements and passed their 100-plus question test can you be considered to earn their Director's Award. Now, here's the key to all this. That Director's Award is on a level of scrutiny that is higher than the state and federal government. So in other words, we already submit to the state and federal. We choose to go higher than that. So when our water treatment plant wins the Director's Award for Partnership of Safe Water, they've literally gone for like the kid who asked for extra credit when they've already got all A's.
I gotcha.
So.
All right. Well, that's good to know. All right. So you guys are safe and clean and all the above?
Yes.
There we go.
And I'll mention this, and don't get me started on tap versus bottled.
Oh, God. Okay, I'll leave that one alone. Okay.
In fact, we may even want to discuss that a few minutes later on.
Okay, all right, cool.
That's a whole other subject that I'm fascinated by.
Okay, that's funny. All right. Well, I see here talked about the water quality. You got a bunch of stats here. It says over 1,800 new lines repaired and tested, which is up 145% from the previous year.
The county is having such a sustained long-term growth rate. So let me mention something else also in terms of the sheer breadth of the service area. When I first started, I've been here over 6 years. Told my boss, this will be the last job I hold. Because I'm really happy here.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
I really enjoy the work. We started with, when I first joined CUD, we had roughly 1,500 miles of water pipe running through Rutherford County.
Gosh, okay.
The equivalent to that is running a straight line from Murfreesboro to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
That's a long line. Okay.
Yes. Since then, we are now at over 1,700 miles, which is actually the equivalent of a line running from Murfreesboro to Phoenix, Arizona.
God bless.
So this tells you how much growth there is in the county, how sustained that growth is, and therefore the amount of work we have, the accountability we must practice at all times, things of that nature.
Okay. God, that's. I'm just trying to picture that. That is a lot of pipe out there. Okay.
It's because we're the fastest growing county in the state.
Yeah. Now I can hypothesize, I should say, on this next. I can guess, but it says you had 43 pressure flow checks, which was down 13% from the previous year. Is it safe to guess because it's down because you have so many new lines put in that you don't necessarily need a pressure check because you're kind of, does that make sense? Am I guessing that right?
It can vary a lot. In fact, some of our numbers on engineering go down from time to time, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You're seeing this in terms of just what is needed at that moment in time.
Okay.
So you can have a year where numbers are down, even as growth is still accelerating. It simply depends on what the needs are in that snapshot of time that year, because what you may end up doing is, if over time we can show a benchmark of like a 5-year snapshot where you may have a year that dips, whereas the other 3 or 4 years go up.
Okay. Well, I was just thinking because you had so many new lines that you don't necessarily need to test new ones. So.
And also pressure checks can sometimes be, people can request them individually when they have questions, maybe at their homes or something. And it may be the case that you've got folks who just simply, there hasn't been an issue at their place, and therefore they don't need a pressure or volume check. Things are simply proceeding as they should.
Yeah. Well, 43 pressure checks, though, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's not even one a week. I mean, it's like, that's odd. If you don't, like you were saying, for the amount that's needed at that time.
Yes.
I mean, that's not bad considering there's 1,700 miles worth of pipe. So.
Not only that, 5 years ago in 2020, we underwent a massive expansion of the water treatment plant, and it doubled in capacity from 16 million gallons capacity now to 32 million gallons per day that it can do.
Okay.
Now, the good part about that, not just the growth, but also we haven't had a day where we had to reach 32 million gallons. We're not at that level yet, fortunately. Our highest pressure, our highest volume days tend to be in the low 20 millions area. So we have a bit more ceiling to get to. But the day is going to come when there's going to be another expansion of the plant because, again, we're going to hit in 20 years probably about 500,000 residents in this county.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. What was that? I saw the old Murfreesboro 2045 plan or whatever it was, and they say now it's like the 2035 plan or something. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yes.
It's just in talks I've heard of people talk about that. So.
The Secretary of State, I think, or the Comptroller, I forget which one, released a report last year indicating that for the first time in Tennessee's history, the state just passed 7 million residents.
Okay.
So, but to localize that to Rutherford County, the two things that stunned me were, number one, Murfreesboro is among, I think, the top roughly 20 fastest growing cities in the nation of its size.
Oh, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah.
And then also Rutherford County, I'm thinking of it this way. There are about, I think, 3,200-ish counties in America. Rutherford County is one of the top 50 fastest growing. Okay. So that's, everyone's moving here.
Yeah.
And therefore they need water. We have to have that plant at a capacity to manage all that.
I got you. Kind of that doesn't surprise me with those type of numbers. I mean, like you said, everybody's moving here. So. But I mean, that, it'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
I know everybody's like, we're full. I'm like, it brings a lot we brings business. That's how. That's one of the reasons we got Trader Joe's.
I know.
Right.
We need some roads, but we are thrilled to have the businesses.
Yeah.
I'm a native Alabamian. Grew up on the Gulf Coast and lived in Birmingham for about 17 years.
Okay.
And I will tell folks, about a week after I arrived here, I called my folks. And this is about 10 years ago, called my folks and I said, I love Alabama, but I will not be going back.
It's funny. We moved here over 20 plus years now. And I had 1 year of college under my belt at MTSU. And my parents made the joke, if you come with us, we'll pay for college. And I was like, let me think about that for about 2 seconds. Sure. But I was like, Tennessee, because I moved here from upstate New York. I moved all around my dad's job when I was younger. But it was like you said, like 2 weeks of being here. I was like, I'm never leaving. I've lived all over the country, but this is home to me. Like I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I love it here.
Same here.
But, well, speaking of the growth, I jumped ahead. My fault. Sorry. There we go. Customer service orders, 189, which is down 42. I would imagine that's probably good, though, right?
Yeah. In fact,
that's down 42%. Wow.
Let me grab my glasses right quick so I can see things better. Let's see. I'm trying to see which you're at. Oh, reference. Yes. Yeah. Because again, if we are seeing downward numbers in that. Generally speaking, I would say that when you're doing a good job with the water supply, you're not going to have the need to have tons and tons of customer service orders. You're managing the infrastructure correctly. You're being responsive and managing both water and wastewater. So and we also we run a lean utility, and what I mean by that is we do not bloat our head count or anything like that. We have a certain number of customer service reps, and I I try to help support them when possible through the chat and through sending customer information their way. So we try to run lean. And still be able to manage the calls and emails that we get because we simply cannot by both our budget and our bylaws. We cannot have a bloated payroll.
I gotcha. Yeah, because you just said your calls and emails. That's quite a big number of calls I'm looking at right now.
It is.
Holy moly.
Yes.
94,000?
Yes.
Dang.
So our people are busy quite often, but this also goes back to a lot of times you get questions about how does someone access their bill.
Yeah, I got
So you have a lot of folks who may not be especially familiar with the payment portal or have a question about the app we have or something like that. Yeah. So a lot of those questions are billing oriented, and so we can handle those pretty quickly.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've been I've been victim of that myself before. You don't know what you don't know, and then you call and you go, oh.
Exactly.
All right, that took about 2 seconds. Thanks. So, are the emails pretty much the same thing? Because, I mean, you're creeping up on 10,000 emails you received, it looks like.
Yeah. In fact, I get some of those, and customer service also receives, of course, the lion's share there.
Yeah, I got you.
And again, when people have, in the moment questions, I do recommend reaching out on our chat on Facebook.
Yeah, okay.
I'm always going to say, hey, like us on Facebook, because you can activate that chat. I can help in the moment. And if it's something that I do not know the answer to, I can find the person who does and get back to you quickly.
Okay. Gotcha. Now, I don't want to shoot you in the foot or anything, but since it's you, I mean, I don't want to say you're 24/7. Do you have hours that you respond to people? Or
I got to sleep sometime.
I know. Okay.
But
so
I will say
folks.
this.
Yeah.
We get a lot of after-hours questions.
Yeah. Okay.
And if it is something that I can easily access in terms of information that will solve their problem, yes, I do provide that in the moment. Maybe there are times I get stuff at midnight.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, look, I'm in bed.
Right.
I need to be able to function at work tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I will, and I'll often tell them, look, I can get to this in the morning.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning.
I got you.
So I try to be, accessible, but recognize, yes, just like you, I need a night's sleep.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's, I wonder, I'd be willing to say you probably get more than we do, because we get a lot of messages on our pages and whatnot. And we got one the other day. I got my phone dinged at like 2:15 in the morning. I was like, really? It's 2:15. Seriously?
Yeah. We get a fair number after hours, and that, but the other thing is sometimes those come in not too terribly long after hours.
Okay, yeah.
If it's 5 p.m., 6, 7 p.m., I'm going to do my best to get you an answer. I can't promise that I can get you exactly what you need in that moment, but my main thing is it's really important to me and to our customer service support, our customer support team to let folks know they've been heard and to acknowledge that and say, okay, next business day, I can get you what you need.
Yeah, I got you. All right, cool. Well, dang, this report you sent over has so much information. I'm jumping around a little. Hope you don't mind.
And I'll mention this. One of the things that is amazing to, all of our departments, I feel very protective of because I know how much work they produce. We learned through Facebook, looking at our insights on it over the course of the year, our maintenance crew tended to be the most popular in terms of getting responses, getting likes. Two of our gentlemen, Brian Worley and Rob Thompson, those two gentlemen alone have more than 50 years of experience in service to the county through maintenance. Our information technology, we have a tremendously gifted IT director who thinks like a hacker and has a very, very high level of IT expertise with regard to cybersecurity.
I was just about to bring that up. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of the key things we do on our social pages. We like to, throughout the year, post cybersecurity tips for folks because we live in the age of the data breach, and we know some tips that can really help people protect themselves online.
Yeah. I literally read that earlier this morning. It was projections from, I'm really kind of digging into cybersecurity here recently. I like just reading about it, but it was like by 2027, the potential loss from cybersecurity was like $23 trillion or something because of the information that is just out there. I was like, that is crazy. So knowing you guys have somebody on staff, too,
yes,
that's awesome.
Yes, right. and we receive thousands of malware attacks, phishing attacks, spam attacks every month.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's because public utilities are considered a target.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we've got a very, let's just say, well-layered defense system, so we have not been hit.
Yeah. We're just going to call him Adam. Adam, you're awesome. I don't know his name. So he's the hidden guy behind the scenes.
Let's just say Mike.
Mike. Okay,
That'll
we'll go with
enough.
Mike. Thank you, Mike, for protecting our utilities. Very cool. Well, that's sorry. We'll talk about more about that later. I find that stuff very interesting. But I'm looking at your water treatment plant part on the report here.
Yes. There's
some big numbers as far as, was that 50? Talk about in millions of gallons.
5.7 billion.
Whoa, that is a lot of water. Okay,
and it's going up. especially in the summer.
Yeah.
That was when we saw the peak usage last year. I think our highest day was in the ballpark of 20 to 22 million. I believe that was in June of last year. Understandable. Summer, irrigation, swimming pools, all those things.
Yeah. What? Well, you said the capacity was what, 32 million?
It is presently.
Okay. When do you see that hitting that capacity?
I think it would take some years for us to get there.
Okay.
But knowing the growth rate of the county, we are already thinking about the next expansion. Now, we're nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
No plans have been necessarily made in that direction.
But you're starting to look that way.
We know it's on the horizon.
All right, cool.
Because of the needs of the county.
Yeah. All right, very cool. Now you have I just lost it. Where'd it go? Average total production cost per millions of gallons a month. That's it was $905 per million gallons. That I would have thought that number would be a lot higher, but is that running lean and mean like you talk about?
It is.
Okay.
It is partly because we have some software at our plant that helps us to make, let's just say, both financially and environmentally friendly decisions at the same time.
All right.
Yeah. So what we do is we have systems that basically monitor our utility usage, even the amount of electricity our plant uses to help us manage that as smartly as possible.
Okay.
But also to make sure that we are ordering just the right amount of chemicals we need at any given time and not overdoing it.
Okay.
So it goes back to running lean in terms of the processes and the dollar amounts you see there for the production costs.
Gotcha. Okay. And then now this one, if you don't mind, just kind of explaining this one a little bit.
Sure.
It talks about the bacteriological. God bless, I can't talk today. Words are hard for me today. So, but the compliance samples. So how does that process work? What do you do, or like what's involved with taking all those samples and whatnot?
Yeah. So we have to. It used to be bare minimum of 120 samples per month.
Okay.
Bare minimum. We go above that. Now, because of population growth, the state and the EPA have asked us to go to 150 per month. And we also have many, many sites throughout the county. So we're doing sampling every day at multiple sites. And that helps us to regulate, of course, the quality of the water. And that's an ongoing thing. That's one of the that in itself, back to the bottled water thing, is one of the key differences between tap and bottled water, because by state and federal regulations, we have to sample and test our water much more often than bottled water companies have to, because they're regulated differently. So we have a much higher number of samples we run, for both new and existing lines. And there's a number of samples we have to do for any new line that we're placing in, just to get it off the ground and be functional for human usage.
Okay. What's in our water here normally?
Well, all tap water, and it doesn't matter where you live, can reasonably expected to have some trace elements of contaminants. But there are basically different kinds of there are some that are there are varying degrees in terms of concern.
You say contaminants, right? Isn't contaminant kind of a it's not necessarily a bad word.
It's a broad term.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I was going for.
That can be everything from sediment that you would find in a river to some drainage from industry.
I got you.
That's going to cover a lot of categories, and so and that really harkens back to our water quality report in terms of the kinds of contaminants that we screen for at all times.
Okay.
So and the one of the big news stories of recent years have been PFAS, the PFAS, that entire line of chemicals.
Yes.
So, and those are man-made chemicals that have been around since the 1940s in everything from cookware to clothing to food packaging, 1,000 different things in our environment. So in our most recent water quality report, we noted what we're doing in terms of screening for PFAS. We also showed that we have no violations in that area either. Again, there are over 3,000 different kinds of them. There are only a handful that are as yet listed in water quality reports as part of the, the screening process. But on our report, it shows the ones that we are, actively screening for and that we have no violations there.
Okay. Awesome.
But recognize that if we're being honest, the companies that produce the PFAS don't want to deal with the cleanup, and yet we as water utilities are saying, well, you created it. Our consumers, our customers should not have to pay for the cleanup.
Yeah, I got you.
That should, that cost should be borne by the companies that created them. We simply want to protect our customers and not have to, incur that cost.
Okay. All right. Man, holy cow. Sorry, I'm trying to not to jump around too much on you, but there's so many different numbers and stats on this thing that stick out that I want to talk about. But like your operations, the taps installed, leaks repaired, yards repaired. Like yards repaired, is that from fixing or putting in new lines or something? You guys go back and fix the yards?
And it can also be from things such as leak detection as well, where we had to kind of burrow into the ground and create a bit of a disturbance in the area. Just dig in with heavy equipment and shovels and so on to get to the line and repair it, things of that nature. And our maintenance crew does a tremendous amount of work per month. They are also, however, at the mercy of the weather.
Okay.
And on occasion, I'll get questions on our chat about, hey, it's been some weeks. Is there a reason why this hasn't been fixed? And I tell them, we've had a lot of rainfall.
Oh, yeah.
And that actually changes the game for us. And it's like as soon as we get that, that clearer, the ground is basically ready to be, fixed.
Yeah.
Then we're out there and we will return it to its natural state.
Yeah, I got you. Well, yeah, you don't want to bring out heavy equipment on some wet grass and lawns. That'd be...
Yeah, that's not the best situation.
Right.
But yes, we take yard restoration seriously, yes.
Yeah. Well, considering here, too, I see taps installed, almost 2,200. But not only the taps installed, but, all the other stuff combined and how much new piping you guys have laid. 680 yards repaired sounds awfully minimal. It doesn't sound like much. I mean, like you guys are meaning you do a good job out there.
And so I get all the reports from all the departments every month because that populates our dashboards internally and externally. So I don't think I've ever seen a number higher than several dozen per month. Yeah. You're never going to see. I've never seen one. I think over 100 per month. Yeah. So and then in terms of the taps installed, that just indicates more growth. Yep. Leaks repaired. We have a really talented leak repair team, and they have a particular device that helps them isolate where a leak happens, so they can dig in there and repair that area. And so leak detection is a big deal because that helps us capture the water better, so we're not losing water that should be available for our customers.
All right. I see 11.5% accounted for water loss. Is that just from those leaks or yards repaired or new taps installed?
Yeah, water loss can take a number of forms. One of the things with regard to water loss is that the state has a certain number. It's either 30 or 40%. I think it's 40%. If you go to that level or above, the state can basically place you into review. Okay.
So you're way under.
Way under. We've had a number of quarters, number of months where it was down in the single digits to the point where in the past, and our leak detection manager, Kevin Hickerson, has been on a webinar or two before where he has, kind of provided other utilities with a sense of, okay, here's how we do it, here's how we keep it so low, because it's like playing golf. The lower the number, the better. Yeah. And so we simply keep it in the single digits or very low double digits, and therefore we're just never in a state where we have to be reviewed by the government for our work.
Nice. Now I know you won that award. I'm just director's award right there. See that? Where do you know where you rank? Like, I'm just curious. Is there a big giant ranking system with all the other CUDs out there? Like,
I don't know that there's a ranking system for it. I just know that there's a very high level of scrutiny just to get it. And then the other thing is on that plaque, it shows all these little windows. The idea is they want you to keep applying for more and more years of it. So they're trying to get you to build that sense of consistency.
Very cool.
So
all right. Man, you guys got to see meter readings. Okay, we got meter service orders. County. Yes. I love this in-county miles driven, almost a million miles.
Yes.
That's a lot of driving.
Put that in perspective, that's a few trips to the moon and back.
Ooh, that is a lot of driving.
Moon's 250,000 miles away, so you get the picture of how many miles are driven. Yes.
Well, you got a lot of guys out there too, so that's,
yes.
That's right. Yeah, because that's okay. So meter readings, that's what that is. The information technology. I love this. 315 miles of water lines mapped. Mm-hmm. So that's the new lines? Is that what that is?
Yeah, we've got yes, we have a GIS team, Geographic Information Services. Mm-hmm. They do some pretty fascinating work in terms of being able to take satellite imagery of our water pipes throughout the county, our service area. And so we also, on that same team, we've got folks who are drone pilots. Mm-hmm. So in fact, they are FAA certified drone pilots. One of the things they do is they use the drones to map various areas of the county, map our water storage tanks to check for instances where they may be damaged, where there needs to be maintenance done there. And so, the GIS team is a part of information technology, and they help us to better understand the state of our pipes under the ground, and where they're running down to, we are able to isolate them down to like within a centimeter using our snapshots underground.
All right. We have a question.
Yes. From
Miss Beth. It said, well, can all fluoride be removed? And if so, when will all fluoride be removed?
Funny you should mention that, because I have a particular page about that.
Oh, right.
I actually reached out to our lab director yesterday about that very topic. Mm-hmm. And if you'll pardon me, I have to locate the exact email. The bottom line for all that is that there is guidance from the state. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a legal mandate from the state, and I know I brought the page with me, but we do, I think it's 0.350 milligrams per liter. I think that is the exact number. The state actually recommends or provides guidance for about twice that. Okay. We're doing that as from what we understand, as the best practices. However, our rule is very simple. If the state mandates that we need to remove fluoride, we'll do so. Yeah. It's not a question of us, dragging our heels about it. Mm-hmm. It's more a case of what does the law direct us to do, and we will simply abide by that. If they decide you must remove fluoride, we'll remove fluoride. Okay. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. But at present, it's a very low amount, and but that is done just in accordance with our best understanding at the moment. Okay. All right. Well, thank you. There you go, Beth. There's your answer. And then got another one from Miss Carla. It says, we live in an older neighborhood and sometimes notice dark rings in our toilets. Normally it's during drier months. What causes this, and should we be concerned with consuming water during those times? Dark ring in the toilet, I'm not so sure that there's anything that's to be concerned about there. Mm-hmm. Could that just be hard water stains? Could be, perhaps. And there are, a number of things that can contribute to anything from taste or smell issues, many of which are just naturally occurring, or even having to do with medications you may be taking. With regard to the effects of hard water, we do live in a state that has hard water. There's the U.S. Geologic Survey has a web page that actually shows a map of the U.S. and it shows where hard water is located. Yeah. Now, the inconvenient truth is that much of the U.S. has hard water. It's not just a portion. It's most of us, most states. Gotcha. Here's the funny thing. You want really hard water, move out west. Oh, yeah? West Texas and the Southwest has substantially harder water. Tennessee, by the scale the U.S. Geologic Survey uses, Tennessee is right in the middle. Okay. So we do have hard water. It's just that it could be a lot worse. Yeah. With regard to the hard water, we often tell folks there's a product. We're not supposed to endorse products and services, but if you're in a grocery store and you see something that says Lemishine, that might be a useful solution in terms of dealing with hard water. Okay.
she replied, and again, it said it happens. It happens quickly and isn't hard water; it's sediment or something. Is what she's saying.
Yeah, and sediment can sometimes happen when you have, in terms of lake turnover, which is where the layers of water in Stones River actually turn over with the seasons.
Okay.
You can get things like just naturally occurring processes that can have that effect. So that's a possibility. But again, I would just look to a product like a Lima Shine or something like that to help with hard water in our home.
Okay, gotcha. It just for those that don't know, what is hard water exactly?
That is the presence of certain nutrients and vitamins in the water that can produce a white or different kind of colored film sometimes.
Yeah.
Have it at my home too. It is very, very common. And there's a number of different products out there you can get in a grocery store that will help with that. But hard water, the trick with hard water is that it's a pro and a con at the same time. The con is the stains you're getting and so on.
Yeah.
The pro is those vitamins and nutrients in the water are actually useful for your body.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And we're talking about manganese and magnesium, things of that nature that are beneficial to the human body in certain amounts.
Yeah. I'm not asking you to endorse any one of those products like you were just saying, but are there like those home filtration systems and stuff like that? Are any of those any good or is it?
That is a customer decision.
Okay.
We provide no endorsements of those or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just recognize that if you're going to do that, there are maintenance costs involved. So just do your due diligence in terms of what you're facing in terms of month in, month out maintenance and probably annual maintenance too. So if you choose to go that route, we're still going to supply you your water as your water utility, but just do some comparison shopping on that and see if it's really beneficial to your home or not.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen some of those, man. Some of them can be quite spendy.
They can be expensive. Yeah, it just depends.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Well, I got off the water topic there for a little bit. Sorry. Where were we? Go back. You had I think it was the fluoride part, or we were going somewhere.
I mentioned the numbers on that, and so I know that's been in the news a good bit. And but one of the things we're also pretty proud of is the fact that late last year there was a report issued by the state. In fact, it was I wrote the name down. It's a mouthful. The Tennessee Advisory Commission on Intergovernmental Relations.
Okay.
So anyway, they produced a report having to do with best practices in wastewater. And so as I was reading through it, it was about 100 pages. One thing that struck me was on page 29, they called out CUD by name.
Okay.
And in a good way. They spoke to the fact that we have these, what we call STEP systems throughout the county. And that stands for Septic Tank Effluent Pump.
Okay.
These are decentralized wastewater, so we don't have a wastewater plant. We have all these STEP systems in various subdivisions throughout Rutherford County.
Gotcha.
And those allow for better treatment closer to the source of the need. So, and also actually reduces some cost in terms of the outlay of capital to build a wastewater plant. So the state actually called out CUD by name as being kind of the gold standard for wastewater processing in the state of Tennessee. We were the only utility mentioned that way on page 29. And so, of course, when I saw that, I had to place it in the monthly newsletter and say, hey, look, we were noted as the best in the state of Tennessee.
Nice. Okay. Now, I want to take it back just real quick on one thing.
Yes.
I probably should have done this part in the beginning. Sorry, folks. But we talked about this in the previous ones before. So, like, water comes in from, like, the process. Water comes in from Stone River. Where does it go? What happens? What's it do?
Yeah, so it's going into our treatment plant. The K. Thomas Hutchinson treatment plant has been around since the early 80s. It reaches there. We have some intake pumps that are like about 350 horsepower. You go into the treatment plant, and then it's several hours of processing and cleaning before it's ever sent out through our distribution system, where we have these high service pumps that fire out the water into our service area. But we use as often as possible naturally occurring materials to clean the water.
Yeah.
So in the plant, we've got sand and anthracite. We're using carbon to help clean the water as well, and of course chlorine. Chlorine is potentially the greatest public health ally of the past 100 years.
Okay.
So those are all part of the process. The chlorine, we typically dose, if memory serves, around 2 to 2.5 parts per million, and that kills off 99.9% of all bacteria and viruses. Chlorine was actually the reason COVID was never an issue in the nation's water supply, because COVID either kills or inactivates COVID on contact. Okay. So water was never an issue there. But
so
after,
can I just take chlorine and no, I'm just kidding.
Probably not.
No, folks, that's a joke.
Yeah, only in certain quantities. So, after several hours of processing, it is then sent out into the distribution system. So it takes a little bit of time each day to get it cleaned and ready for human use.
Okay. Gotcha. But in a given day, it can come in and go out in the same day. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. Nice. All right. I apologize. Probably should have started
that's
off
good.
on that note, but but yeah, I dove into these numbers here, and everything's so fascinating with the amount of water you guys pump and everything you do. So awesome. What did we miss so far? I'm jumping around. What did we get?
Well, let's see. Let me look at the.
I was saying, what you got over there in your notes?
Yeah, well, and I mentioned our technology in terms of the information technology and our cybersecurity.
Yes. Okay.
And so, some of the key things to keep in mind with regard to how CUD operates. We are a nonprofit, so any profits we make are directed back into both debt reduction, and we're in the very fortunate position of being AAA rated in terms of our finances, and we've received notice from the state about the quality of our finances as well. But also, any profits we make go right back into infrastructure. So, I should mention this. This is an important one with regard to lead service lines.
Okay.
0 in the entire county.
Nice.
So we're very fortunate. Part of that is because so much development in the county happened post the lead service line ban from the federal government that there was simply none to find. And we went through just shy of 71,000 service lines in our entire service area. Not a single service line was lead lined. And we had a detector that could tell the difference between lead, galvanized, and copper.
Nice.
So, so that came back a big negative in a good way. The funny thing was, some of my colleagues from states up north would now and then ask on email, and when we'd see each other at events, they'd be like, so how are you communicating to your customers about lead? And I had to tell them, we're actually not, because we placed we don't have anything to communicate aside from the inventory is done. It's been certified by the state. Yeah. We have no lead to speak of. Okay. So places up north where they have much older infrastructure, that's an issue. Here it's not.
Okay. You hear that, folks? Any lead concerns? There just aren't any.
There aren't any. And the other thing is the government requires that going forward we produce a yearly kind of update on it. Okay. Well, the thing is, it's going to come back negative every time because there's a ban on lead, and we wouldn't use it anyway. Yeah. So every document from here on in that speaks to our service lines is going to show, there's no lead. We simply don't allow it.
All right. Cool. Very cool. You have more notes than I do. So now I'm kind of leaning on you. I apologize.
So and I mentioned that we are a nonprofit. We're funded. Sometimes people joke about, well, that's my tax dollars at work, and we say, funny you should mention that. Those are not your tax dollars at work. Yeah. We are not a tax. We don't receive from taxes. Yep. Our income is from monthly bills and tap purchases.
You go right here. Okay.
Yeah. So these are some essential truths about our business model, and so we don't rely on taxation for that. It's the monthly bills and it's the tap purchases.
Yep. It's any and all profits reinvested.
Exactly.
Capital improvements. Yep. Very
exactly.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and So, and we're also zealous about protecting the infrastructure. We, are zealous about maintaining our step fields because those are the wastewater for the individual subdivisions. And, we also know that there may be, some things in the General Assembly where there may be some entities that wish to maybe even reduce certain levels of needed quality in terms of wastewater disposal. And we say, no, we have a certain level we always want to adhere to, and we don't want to reduce our level of quality. We have a very competitive mindset as a public utility. We're kind of different than a lot of places. We seek out opportunities like these awards to compete for these things because it helps to motivate the workforce and it helps to preserve a certain level of quality for our customers.
Gotcha.
So we don't want, we're always going to be in favor of anything that helps us continue to maintain our standards, not detract from them.
All right, cool. Very cool. All righty. Well, I think we talked on most of this stuff already now. Dang, we hit a whole lot real fast. All right. What do we miss on your report side? Because I think I hit everything on my side over here.
Yeah, I also want to pay some tribute to our maintenance team because
please do.
Yeah, they did a really extraordinary thing earlier this year when Hurricane Helene came through. A good number of our maintenance crew went to Newport, Tennessee, to help them reestablish water service.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so they ended up installing over, I think, 1,500 feet of water line to help Newport restore its water capabilities again.
Very cool.
Yeah, so they spent several days doing that, and so they were noticed in local media as well. That was really nice. Our maintenance team is very forward thinking, and they get a lot done.
Wait, so I think you sent us a picture of some of those guys, I think.
Yeah.
I think you did. Okay. It's coming back now.
Yeah, and WGNS ran the story.
Yep.
Some,
that's very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shout out to those guys. Thank you for them. And then, all right. Well, I think we hit it all, didn't we?
Yeah, and I would recommend folks to recognize that. Well, okay, we have 3 different social channels. We've got Facebook.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, we've got Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. On Facebook, we've got a ballpark of 2,000 followers.
All right.
That's our dominant channel right now. And when it comes to everything from if there is a main break, if there is a substantial planned outage due to construction, whatever, you're going to see that on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
So I would recommend folks just like us there because you're going to get alerts that way. And then, LinkedIn, we speak more to our workplace, our culture, thought leadership in the industry. Also, we produce a quarterly customer newsletter, and that's built with the idea that everything you're going to see in there is based off of what they told us they care about from the customer service survey. So right now, we've got a little bit over 5,000. We built this from scratch. 0 subscribers. All the way now we're at past 5,000 subscribers in the county. So if you want to see the real nuts and bolts behind how the money gets spent and the dashboards we use about our work, the customer newsletter is a great way to do it, and the sign up is on our website as well. All we ever ask is your email address, and we're never going to try to sell you anything different or anything like that.
Okay.
And again, the website is set up with the idea of it being kind of a gas station because we learned through Google Analytics and through some studies that that's how people approach utilities. They think of them as gas stations. You go in, you get what you need, you go out. So that's how it's built.
I got you. We got another comment on here.
Yes.
Going to hit you with this one.
All right.
So it says, is it EWG.org? Gives details on contaminants and carcinogens in the water, the zip code, tons that are not safe at any level. And it said, do we have those? Any of those? Have you seen that website?
Vaguely
I haven't
familiar.
seen it either.
Vaguely familiar with it.
Okay.
And there are different entities out there that have different dashboards. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And so what we tend to rely on is the requirements of both the state and federal government, along with the American Water Works Association, because that's one of the groups behind that award. we screen for everything basically that's humanly possible at this stage of the game, and we're also going to go by the laws that are in place that govern what we do, by EPA and state standards.
Okay.
So in terms of I would need a bit more specificity, and I would actually encourage that person to reach out in about an hour or two on our Facebook page. Message me directly.
All right.
Hit that message button. I'll be glad to respond.
All right.
Because that's what I tell all of our customers. Say, hey, hit me up because you will get me. I'm sitting there at the desk managing that channel.
All right. Well, this person just commented 3 minutes ago. I'm sure you're still watching. You hear that? So hit him up in about an hour or two.
I'll be available.
And you'll answer it directly. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that. All right, cool. All right. Well, I think that's probably about it then. We hit on everything, didn't we?
I think so, yeah.
All right.
I brought all these pages here, and the one thing that I don't want to sound too self-congratulatory in terms of our utility. That never sounds good. However, within the past couple of months, our auditors were at our building checking on finances and things of that nature. And I started typing out some of their direct quotes as they were talking to our board members because they were really complimentary of the utility as a whole. And they said words to the effect of, you guys are the exception, not the rule. They said, your level of both financial care and maintenance of infrastructure and so on, they said, this doesn't just happen. This is unusual in terms of the level of quality in the industry, and you should be very proud of what you've produced here. So cool. That's one of the what in the world?
Hey, it's that person hitting you up there.
That actually says telemarketer.
Oh, that's funny. There you go. Oh, we all get them
of
too.
all the times.
Yep.
But yeah, it was one of the most fun things is just getting up in the morning, knowing that it's a highly motivated workplace with people who care about each other, and we are serving at the pleasure of our county, and we have just very high levels of very high standards and core values that we try to live out every day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Very cool. All right. And like you said, if anybody has any questions or comments or anything to hit you, Facebook's probably the best place. CUDRC,
hit that message button, and you're getting me directly. And if I don't know the answer, I will find out who does, and I will get back to you.
All right. Perfect. Okay. Well, we appreciate your time. We know you're a busy man, so thanks for coming in this morning.
Well, thank you.
Gotcha. And then anybody else watching out there, you can still put comments in there. We'll still get back to them as soon as we can. But if you want anything direct to them, you just heard it, right where to go. And then you can always message us. I'll do my best to try and direct you if need be on any questions. So, but other than that, thanks for everybody who wrote in with questions. We appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And for
Thank you.
everybody out there watching, we'll see you on the next one.